The police are investigating your area. An arrest is about to shake things up because a person kept the air has grown thick where you live, thicker than anyone dares to speak of, heavier than simple explanation allows. There is a sound beneath the silence, a slow, grinding whisper that threads itself through the walls of your days, curling in shadows like smoke with memory. Something is stirring, and it is not just the human kind of investigation, it is divine surveillance that has marked your coordinates. The police may be preparing their case, but heaven already knows what walks where your feet have trusted. The one you thought was a confidant is not only known, they are being encircled now by forces they cannot see, surrounded like prey that has outrun mercy for too long. The lines have been drawn around your neighborhood in the spirit first, and now the natural realm is catching up, trembling in anticipation. You've felt it. That low hum in your spirit that says something isn't right, every casual greeting wrapped in coldness, every smile you've lately questioned. The moon trembled behind torn clouds last night for a reason, it bears witness to what they tried to bury. Their footsteps have left spiritual ash prints on your floor, and heaven is blowing the wind of exposure across them now. Your dreams have grown louder because your discernment is trying to break the cage they hoped you wouldn't notice. You've seen glimpses, faces flickering like shadows in water, voices that double back on themselves. They gave you delays masked as divine timing, setbacks wrapped in spiritual language, but none of it came from God. God says this: the hour of unveiled presence is beginning. The one whose energy has been choking your blessings, the one whose secret alliances tied your name to their downfall, is standing in a shaking circle of spiritual consequence. They thought they were covering tracks in the dark, but the dark itself turned against them. They turned your name into currency, bargaining with your integrity behind closed doors. They wore your friendship like a cloak to access what heaven had protected for you. But the spiritual perimeter has been breached, not by the enemy, but by the order of divine judgment. You were never unprotected, you were under observation. Archangel Michael says, I have stood at the edge of your home, sword drawn, watching the disguised serpent coil through conversations, text messages, idle laughter. I watched them laugh with you and curse your name in the next breath. The gate is no longer open to them. A strange stillness has entered your space, the calm that precedes divine interruption. Time is folding in on itself, and soon the natural world will mirror the verdict already handed down in spirit. They are already being tracked, but not just by earthly eyes. Heaven has measured their weight and found them lacking. They were warned. Spiritually, they were given exit points, grace moments, and trembling chances to walk away. But they tightened the noose. They increased the venom. They orchestrated small destructions in your life to delay what they could never truly stop. Now, the breath of God is pressing down on the cracks they opened. Your tears were recorded like coordinates. Every betrayal was written in fire in places you have never seen but that are more real than the room you sit in now. The world is about to find out why you were always under such attack, why blessings were delayed, because someone near you was feeding from your harvest like a thief in sacred robes. They did not count on this. You are watched by the host. You are covered by a realm they never studied. The police are investigating your area, but long before their case reached the files, heaven began the motion of divine detachment. And now, the natural must follow the supernatural law. Soon, their name will be spoken in places they never imagined. Their secrets will knock louder than their lies ever could. The one who sowed ruin will be named by more than one mouth, and none of them will be yours. Stay still. Do not move to defend or explain. Heaven is walking through the streets in this hour, pulling veils off faces. The wind will change. The energy will shift. And they will know, your name was never meant to be tethered to theirs. You looked them in the eye and never saw it, the split in their spirit, the double-mouthed allegiance hiding beneath their polished calm. They played your shadow, mirrored your rhythms, echoed your language of faith just enough to blend in. But beneath the smile was a rusted chain, one end wrapped around their own ankle, the other tied tightly to your forward motion. They weren't sent. They were allowed. And what they touched in your life has begun to rot under divine inspection. The delay you couldn't explain? It wasn't God testing your patience. It was their agreement with lower forces siphoning time, draining oil, poisoning wells while claiming to pour. God says, they wore the cloak of support while casting seeds of confusion into your field. That confusion grew roots in your opportunities, twisted vines around your clarity. What looked like missed chances were actually engineered collapses, and the betrayal is deeper than words. It was a curse wrapped in closeness. They watched your dreams flicker and fall, and never warned you why. They didn't just witness your struggle, they tightened it. The door they offered was a mirror, a false opening into more delay. You were dancing on a floor they built with false boards, every step daring a collapse. But now the floor is cracking under them. Their time inside your circle is expiring, and judgment is not waiting for comfort or consensus. The Spirit of God has withdrawn the hand of patience, and the scales they thought would never tip are now trembling on a sacred edge. They chose this path. They were given outstretched hands, but they preferred the dagger. Archangel Michael says, they are marked. The chain they hid is being pulled tight by justice now. I have watched the transaction of betrayal from beginning to end, and the time of divine arrest is upon them. A thunder is building, silent to the world, deafening in the spirit. You may feel an uneasiness rising in your body, a fluttering like your ribs are made of wings trying to flee. That is your spirit aligning with the climax. The arrest is not simply a man in uniform with cuffs, it is a spiritual binding, a hand from heaven closing around the wrist that tampered with your oil. You trusted them with parts of your soul. You allowed them in, believing in their facade of favor. but what they really served was fear. They were sent by the bitter echo of someone else's failure. Your light triggered their envy. Your growth prophesied their expiration. And instead of rising with you, they made a pact to pull. But that pact is now under divine fire. Surveillance has shifted from silent watch to divine documentation, and every hidden thing is now ordered to appear. The courts of heaven have unsealed the case file. Their name is being written on a divine warrant. What they did to you will not just be reversed, it will be exposed. They may still be smiling today. They may be in your messages, checking in, trying to sense if the heavens have tipped their hand. But you will no longer answer them from a place of innocence, you will answer, if at all, from awareness. From the high tower of revelation. They underestimated the consequence. They thought the spiritual realm was slow, asleep, easily manipulated. But justice is not delayed, it is surgical. Precise. Silent until it strikes. And now, it is moving. Even the atmosphere knows it. The birds have changed their flight pattern. The wind no longer moves the same. The clocks feel like they stutter when they pass through certain hours. That's not paranoia, it's prophecy rippling through physical reality. The spiritual arrest has begun. God says, they will stand still while everything they propped up in your name collapses under holy scrutiny. The job they manipulated, the circle they contaminated, the false favor they wore like perfume, it will all fall like walls built without mortar. They are about to be identified in both realms. You may hear it before you see it. A rumor will twist through your circle, a whisper born from human mouths but ordered by divine tongues. It will say they've been caught. It will say something's happened. And when it does, don't run to comfort. Don't reach to cover. This is not cruelty, it is divine conclusion. They tied themselves to the serpent and thought heaven wouldn't intervene. But heaven was watching the whole time, not for revenge, but for revelation. And now, the revelation is complete. You are not crazy. You are not overly sensitive. You are not imagining this shift. You are being freed from a chain that looked like a friend. You are rising because the spirit that held you down has been ordered to release. And once this arrest takes place, the acceleration will come like lightning. They will hear the sound, but they won't know where it came from. A shriek in the spirit has gone out, a siren not born of metal or megaphones, but of divine reckoning. It's already echoing through realms they've ignored, bouncing off the walls of their private shadows, calling the soul into confrontation with the damage it caused. This is not merely about law and earthly consequence. This is the spiritual equivalent of a raid, a divine breach of territory that they fortified with secrets and spells. The angels are not silent anymore, and the one who moved against your name has triggered a response they were never prepared for. You were marked with destiny, and that mark drew both favor and attack. The same light that lifted you attracted moths dressed as friends, but they didn't come for warmth, they came for access. They wanted to stand beside you when your name was called, without earning the fire that forged you. So they faked alignment. And the heavens let them, for a time. But time has expired. A portal of spiritual arrest has opened over their head. The siren they hear now is not a warning, it's a countdown. A last tolling bell echoing through their bones, trying, just for a moment, to shake repentance loose from their rigid pride. But even now, they pretend not to hear. Archangel Michael says, I have entered their dreams. I've spoken in the voice they thought was their own mind. I gave them flashbacks of the lies, the nights they conspired, the moments they could have walked away. But still they resist. So now the sword moves, and mercy steps back. They don't realize how close the spiritual realm truly is. How thin the veil became once they broke covenant with you. Their actions weren't just against you, they were against the assignment God placed over you. You carried something sacred, and they tampered with it. That's not just betrayal. That's spiritual trespass. And so the alarm keeps wailing, unheard by ears, but unmistakable to the soul. You felt it too, the hum under your skin, the unshakable tension, as if the atmosphere itself is watching. Because it is. This is not just an ending. It's an exorcism. You're being delivered from a presence that mimicked your cadence but harbored your cage. They called on spirits they couldn't control. They envied what they refused to honor. And now, the spirits they played with have turned silent, withdrawing like shadows into corners they once commanded. Because when heaven says enough, even demons lose their grip. God says, the final strike is set into motion. It will look like coincidence to outsiders, but you will know the truth. You'll feel the shift. The pressure behind your forehead will vanish. The fog will lift. You will feel a lightness in your chest that is more than emotion, it is freedom after years of slow captivity. They mocked your delays, not knowing they were feeding them. They whispered behind closed doors, creating narratives to steal your connections, your favor, your timing. But heaven has flipped the lens. Now they will be seen for what they are, and you will be recognized for what you survived. A great unveiling has been triggered. The siren was the sign. This is the hour when justice is not just declared, it is embodied. The angelic host is not passive. You were assigned watchers, protectors, silent scribes who documented every betrayal, every stolen moment. And now those scribes are speaking in thunder to the courts above. You may feel your body respond, goosebumps, trembling hands, a pressure like rain in your bones. This is your spirit stepping forward to the front of the line. You are being repositioned. You are no longer bound to the one who disguised sabotage as support. They will feel it when it hits. They will try to backpedal, to rewrite history, to repaint the role they played. But the siren doesn't lie. Heaven does not indict without evidence. The weight of what they've done will press down on them like fog that never lifts. And when the earthly moment happens, when the police step in, when the news breaks, when the circle gasps, you will remember the siren. You will know it didn't start today. It started the moment they chose deception over destiny. And now, the spiritual realm demands reparation. They may weep. Let them. That is between them and God. You stay aligned. Stay quiet. Watch the unfolding like the sunrise after storm. You have already survived the worst part, their proximity. Now you rise in the aftermath, unchained and holy. The moment comes like a fracture, silent first, then sudden. You will feel it in the marrow of time before it arrives in sound. There is a spiritual quake rippling through your story, and the falsehoods can no longer stand under its weight. What was hidden is trembling now, unable to hold the mask to its face. They thought they had more time. They believed silence was safety, that you were blind, that heaven was slow. But divine justice does not forget, it waits, and when it moves, it shatters. Their name has already entered the realm of exposure. The arrest is not coming, it is already written. God says, the hand of divine justice has touched your timeline, and everything that clung to you in secrecy is now being uprooted by truth. The one who wove chains in the dark is being pulled forward into a light they cannot escape. The same voice that spoke creation is now speaking consequence. The Sheikh will unmask them in places they thought were sacred. The lies will crawl into the open like insects from a burning floor. What they whispered to allies will rise on wind and become testimony. What they stole in secret will show up in public like blood on their hands. Archangel Michael says, the veil has torn. I have unsheathed the blade again, and now the covenant breaker must face the fire they lit. Their time within your borders has ended. I stand now between you and them, this is your severance. The ripple will hit fast, friendships will crack, texts will vanish, doors will close without your hand. You'll watch people choose sides they never declared, watch favor migrate toward you like a flock returning home. What seemed stable will fall apart, but do not fear the collapse. The falling is revelation. This is how God restores, by removing the lie, He clears the land for truth to stand tall. You will no longer question who was for you. You will no longer wonder what you sensed. The Sheikh will confirm everything your spirit already knew. The arrest is only the physical echo of a spiritual sentencing. You will not need to vindicate yourself. Their own fruit will testify. Their alliances will dissolve under the weight of what they did. Some will try to shield them, but even shields burn when heaven breathes. You are not in a season of warning anymore, you are in the moment of fulfillment. Justice has eyes, and they are open wide. The very walls of your space are releasing the residue of their presence. The air feels different because the spirit that once watched you sleep has been forcibly removed. There is peace now, but it is a holy peace, one born of conquest, not comfort. The Sheikh will unmask everything. Every lie. Every false covering. Every manipulation they wove around your image, your reputation, your alignment. You were not paranoid. You were not fragile. You were discerning a war others couldn't see, and now that war has been won. You may not feel ready for the aftershock, but heaven says you are. You were built for this moment, forged in silence, trained in delay. Your reward is not only peace, it is placement. You are stepping into rooms they tried to lock. Doors are opening not because you pushed, but because the one who blocked them is gone. God says, you will no longer walk with weight in your chest. Your dreams will become clearer. Your path will straighten. The favor that was dammed up will now overflow. What they tried to keep from you will now be commanded to find you. Let them fall. Let the exposure finish its work. You are not responsible for their restoration. You are responsible for your rising. And rise you will, unshaken in spirit, even as the earth beneath you testifies that the false thing has fallen. The police will do their job. The reports will speak. But the heavens have already issued the final decree. This was not punishment, it was purification. And now, purified, you rise like fire through ash. You are free. They are revealed. The chains are broken. The veil is gone.